Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to learn one of the classification algorithm in machine learning, that's on logistic regression. Unlike regression where we try to predict a continuous number, in classification we try to predict a category. There is a wide variety of classification applications from medicine to marketing, and the classification models include linear and non-linear models. The linear models such as logistic regression, support vector machines, and non-linear models such as k nearest neighbor, kernel SVM, decision trees, and random forest. So in this session I'll be focusing on the first most classification algorithm, that's on logistic regression, and also we'll see few concepts on evaluating the classification model performance. So this algorithm is mainly used for classification, and the name regression appears here because it follows the basic principle of simple linear regression. Classification models will try to classify the objects based on the labels we define. For example, if I consider a binary classification problem, we can say whether a person is having a diabetes or not, just like the values zeros or 1. Let me show you a figure. So in this figure, we can try to predict the probability values, right, of having a disease based on the age of the person. And we can see that in x-axis we have the independent variables, and in the y-axis we have a dependent variables. And from 0 to 100 we can keep some probability values. Based on the age, we can decide whether the probability is high for a particular person or not. So here I am categorizing the age values lesser than 50 and greater than 50. So now let us consider an age group of 30 somewhere here and try to verify the probability of having a disease. And it is very clear from the image that the probability of having disease is very less for age under 30. But as we go to a higher age above 50, sometimes what happens is the linear models will have a drawback of having a decision boundary. You can see the boundary is only up to here, okay, because the range comes from -infinity to infinity, and due to this we cannot have a finite boundary to do the classification. So in such a case we can squeeze this linear line into some function which we call it as a sigmoid function, and this function is given as 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus y, right? Now we can also try to substitute the value of y, which is the slope, which is equal to mx plus c, in this equation, and we derive the equation as 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus mx plus c. So if this equation is passed on to the slope of this linear line, we can have a line somewhat like this, right? Now we can see that the probability value is squeezed between 0 and 1 and not going beyond the decision boundary, right? This is your logistic regression, and we make use of log function to calculate the errors over here. So now basically to do the classification we have this logistic, and this logistic basically comes from the log loss function, So basically to calculate the errors or cost, we mainly use this log loss function. So considering yi as the dependent variable, we write this log loss function as summation of equal to 1 to n yi, which is a dependent variable, into log of pi plus 1 minus yi into log of 1 minus pi. Finally we try to take a average of this. By this it tries to classify different instances into positive and negative classes, or 0 or 1, and since we have a log function to calculate the error, we can use this for classifications. Okay, and also we can choose multiple shapes for sigmoid curves for classification by stretching it or by movement towards upward and downward. And we can do this easily by changing the values of m and c, okay, in the slope, where m we will use it for stretching and c to move the curve upward or downward. The main advantage of using this is it is immune to overfitting, and which can be extended to multi-class problems too. Okay, so this is a small theory of logistic regression. Now let us see how to implement the logistic regression for a given data set in Python. The data set what we have taken for the study is social network ads, and the aim is to predict which of the customers, or we can say that which of the previous customers will buy a new car by your company. Here we can see that each row refers to the different customers, and for each of these customers we have collected the age, estimated salary, and the purchased column. Okay, so this purchase column will give you an insight whether or not these customers have bought previously like old cars from this particular company or not. Altogether we have taken 400 instances here. The data set is very big. Okay, and we had ensured that there is no missing values in the data set. If you find any, you have to try to fill up those regions with the mean value or any other strategies. Okay, now let's see the code. I had used a Spider editor to write the program here. Let's train the model based on this data, and we'll test for a new data with the different age and salary. Okay, just to validate the model whether they will buy a new car or not. So in this session we will see how to import the libraries, data set. Also we'll see how to split the data set into training and testing, feature scaling mechanisms, training the model, and predicting a new result and test set results. And finally we can make some confusion matrix to visualize the trained and test set results. Okay, so let us understand the program here. As I said, the step 1 was to import all the required libraries. Here we required NumPy and Pandas. 2 libraries are required, so we have to import these 2 libraries in our editor. So we have to write this, and you can see that the libraries have been imported successfully. After that we have to import the data set. For that sake we have to ensure the path is been properly given here, and you are using the library Pandas to read the CSV file from the path social network ads.csv and store it in a variable data set. And if you try to execute this line, you can see in the variable explorer the data frame has been loaded by the name dataset, and all the values related to age, estimated salary and purchase is successfully loaded in the data frame. The complete 400 instances of data has been loaded. Now, to create two entities such as independent variables and dependent variables, we require two new variables x and y, wherein we are going to consider x as the matrix of features for independent variables and y for dependent variable vector. So among this data set, we are considering the age and estimated salary as the input and purchased column as the output variable. So to do that, I need to locate the indexes position, locate the index position in the data set for all the rows and all the rows except the last column, and take down all the values of it. Similarly, from the data set, locate the indices of all the rows and only the last column for the dependent variable vector. Okay, once you are successfully able to import the data set along with the splitting of the data set for the two entities, we can then try for split the data set into training and testing. As you can see that x and y has been successfully uploaded with all the independent and dependent variable vectors. Also you can see y. Okay, now it's time to split the data set into training and testing. So to do that, we try to use a very famous library called as sklearn, scikit-learn, from which we are going to import train underscore test underscore split class. Okay, from scikit-learn.model selection library, we try to import a class called train test split, and we try to take the instance of the class and store it in a two pair of training and testing variables for xtrain, xtest, ytrain and ytest. And as a parameter, it is very clear that we are going to store the value of the independent variable, dependent variable, and the test size is 0.25. That means 25% of the entire data set we have taken it for testing, 75% has taken for the training, and the random state is 0, which will allow us to get some same results. Okay, so after that you can try to print out all the things. So I'll just execute these lines and you can see the values in xtrain, ytrain, xtest and ytest. You can see it in the console, also you can see it in a variable explorer. You can see it is successfully uploaded here. Xtest. So testing how many datas? 100 datas. Correct, 25% is 100. Similarly xtrain, 300, around 300 data, 0 to 299, 300. So it is successfully splitted the data set into training and testing. Now it's time for feature scaling. This will try to scale all the values of a particular attribute in a right scale, okay, from -3 to +3. So we have different types of feature scaling mechanism, normalization and standardization. So in this particular session I am going to use standardization. That's the reason from the scikit-learn pre-processing library we had imported standard scaler. Create an instance of that class, store it in a variable sc, and fit and transform the trained data set through the standard scaler, and try to transform the updated result in the existing data set and print the values of training and testing. Ensure whether all the values are in a particular scale. Now before I execute this, I would like to show what exactly stored in train and test. You can see in train data for these two values, the values are, some are in 40s, some are in 30s, some are in 50s, some are in 20s. You can see the values have been scattered. And also in the estimated salary, some are in 39,000, 1,20,000, 50,000. So this will try to confuse the machine learning model in future, Now to avoid all this kind of confusions and this domination nature, so what we are going to do is we'll apply this feature scaling mechanism and try to bring it into a single scale. So now when you execute this particular lines of code, you will see that the values have all been taken from -3 to +3, and you can see the train set here. You can see the values are from -3 to +3. Everything is within the range of the values here also. So domination does not work here, and machine learning model can work very effectively once you develop it. Okay, so that's the reason we are done for a feature scaling here. I hope you understood this point. Let's now train the model using a logistic regression algorithm. So we are going to import this particular class logistic regression from the library linear_model. Okay, and finally once we import this class, we have to create an instance of that class by passing the parameter random state equal to 0, right? So as I already mentioned, this will allow us to get the same results each and every time whenever it is going to train. And finally we fit the model. We will fit the model for trained and trained set for X and Y. Okay, so what we are doing here is, since we have taken two pairs of data set, X train, Y train for training and X test, Y test for testing, right? So now what we are doing means we are going to train the model based on this logistic regression algorithm for X train and Y train data set, right? And after we train the model, finally we are trying to predict the value. Then we are going to apply the same formula, same strategy for the test result sets, and try to verify the model using a new value. Then we try to compare whether the model is predicting better results or not. Let us do that. So what we have done means we have tried to import logistic regression from this class, and we create an instance of the class, stored it in a variable classifier, and we had fit to the two data sets X train and Y train. Now we have to execute these 3 lines of code here. So once we are done with that, we will try to predict a value. So what I do here is, from the variable classifier, I try to predict the value. Okay, here I try to predict using SC dot transform. Okay, SC is what? So actually I try to predict the value of age 30 and the estimated salary 87,000. But you can see that I had used some scaling mechanism, SC.transform off. So guys, please do remember that any single observation which is inside the predict method, it has to be the input in double pair of square brackets. As we know that the predict method will expect from its input a 2-dimensional array. It will always try to expect a 2-dimensional array. That's the reason we have tried to scale the input using the transform method, as we have done in feature scaling mechanism. Okay, that's the reason we are doing this job. Okay, so when we execute this line of code, this is a new value. As you can see that in the data set we don't have the age with 30 and 87,000. I think we have 32, 25. Okay, or let us see whether we have it. I will just try to search some values. 87,000. Yes, I have a value here. So we have age as 30 and the estimated salary as 87,000. So the actual value should be, he is not going to purchase the car, 0. Okay, let us see whether our model is giving the right prediction or not. Yes, the model has rightly predicted that. It says that the person is not going to purchase that particular car. Let us take some new values. Okay, let me take this 30 with 1,07,000, right? 1,07,000 salary. Let us see this answer. Okay, the model is still predicting he is not going to purchase that particular product, but actually he is purchasing it. So there will be some wrong predictions, there will be some right predictions. Let us check for some other values also. It is purely based on the data what you train for it. Okay, now let me take 41 and 30,000. 41 with 30,000. Okay, now it should give that person is not going to buy the car. Yes, it is predicting properly. Let me give one more last value with 1. Let me check for that. Okay, I'll give for 32 with the 1 lakh. Right, 32 with 1 lakh. Let me try to predict this output. Okay, no, it is still giving the answer no. So that means most of the answers are wrong here. Now let us apply the same formula for the testing data set, and finally we will end up with the confusion matrix. Okay, so if I try to predict for the test set, what I do means I simply write classify dot predict of x test. That means for all the values what is stored in x test, I am going to verify, and finally I am going to print the each and every single values with the predicted output. So for that what I am going to do means I am going to print the value. So here we will display the two vectors, here the actual output and the predicted output, and to do this we will use some NumPy to handle the arrays here. Okay, we will use NumPy to handle the arrays to concatenate, because here the concatenate is a function of NumPy that allows to concatenate either vertically or horizontally the two vectors in arrays. So for that sake we have written np dot concatenate, and we have taken the input as y prediction dot reshape of this y pred comma 1. Here you can see that we have added the method called as reshape. This will try to display the output in a vertical manner. Okay, it will try to display all the outputs, the manual values, okay, manual entry value, the actual values and the predicted values. All these things will be displayed one after the other in a vertical format, but each of these values will be displayed in a horizontal manner. That's the reason you can see that last value we had given it as 1, 0 for vertical and 1 for horizontal. So this is the y predicted, this is the test variable. Okay, this is the predicted variable, test variable. So actual value and predicted value we are going to check it. Now I'll execute these lines and let us see the output. Look at here. So first few values are same, actual values, predicted values. This is also giving same, but you can see some actual values are should be 1, but actually the predicted is giving 0. Similarly, there are few mismatching outputs here. These are all for the test set, not for the trained set. Okay, look at here, this value is giving wrong, even this. There are few certain values have been wrongly predicted. Okay, now to understand how many wrong predictions are there, how many right predictions are there, so for that sake we are making use of this confusion matrix. So this confusion matrix will give will let us know how many right predictions and how many wrong predictions have been made in the given program. Okay, so what we will do means here we'll try to evaluate the model based on the performance matrices, and the matrix what we used is a confusion matrix and the accuracy score. Okay, what is the accuracy of the model, and finally we will see how many right predictions have been made and how many wrong predictions have been made. To do that, I try to import the confusion matrix and accuracy score from matrix library from scikit-learn, create an instance of the confusion matrix with y test and y predicted. What is the predicted value and what is the actual values, and store it in a variable cm and print that values. So what you will get means you are going to get the confusion matrix in a multidimensional array format. You can see 65 plus 24, the diagonal values are right prediction. Among the 100 values, 89 values are rightly predicted and 11 values are wrongly predicted. Total 100. Okay, so this diagonal will give you the right predictions, 8 and 3 diagonal will give you the wrong predictions. So of course it is out of 100, 11 wrong predictions, so it should be 89. Then accuracy also should be 89. So accuracy will be also be calculated for tested and predicted value, and now if you see the output, it is giving 0.89. so if you multiply by 100, it will give you 89%. Okay, so we had studied how to import the libraries, how to import the data set, how to split the data set into training and testing, why we need to use feature scaling mechanisms, and what is the strategy we had applied for feature scaling. Also we had seen the application of logistic regression for the model in developing of a model, right? And the data set what we had taken was social network ads, just to ensure based on the age and the salary whether a person or the customer is going to buy a new car from that particular company or not. To do that predictions, we had applied this logistic regression, and we had seen some few prediction. It is very clear that most of the some of the predictions are giving wrong answers and some are giving right. We had trained this entire model using logistic regression, and finally we had tested it on the test data set. Also we had seen the confusion matrix to ensure how many right and how many wrong predictions have been made, and also we had seen the accuracy of the model. So in my next session, I'll teach you how to classify the model using KNN, decision tree, also SVM kind of classification algorithms. So until then, happy learning and thank you for watching this.